I hope you all are doing well today. Thank you all for joining the live session. This week we'll be beginning our habit number 3, which is early dinner. Let's begin the session today with practicing the presence pause and breath regulation like we do always. So I request you all to be seated in a comfortable position and if possible, close your eyes. I'll guide you through presence pause and breath regulation. Be seated in a comfortable position. Let's begin by bringing your awareness to your breath. Just notice your breath. Now bring your awareness to your stomach. Notice the sensations in your stomach. Now bring your awareness to your feet. Notice if they're touching anything. Now observe your posture. Do not correct it, just observe your posture. Now watch what's running on your mind. Watch what's running on your mind without engaging with your thoughts. Now, how alert or tired do you feel in your body? How alert or tired do you feel in your body? And where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel it in your body? Okay. Now let's take 3 deep breaths. An inhale on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale on the count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now gently open your eyes if you have them closed. All right. I hope you all are practicing the presence pause at least once a day. Try to practice it earlier in the day, so even if you forget, you can do it at bedtime. And you can add the breath regulation practice right after it, so you can remember them to do both of them together. And optionally, pranayama practice, if you were able to start it, that's great. And the 4-point hydration rhythm was discussed in the last session. I hope you all got a chance to begin that. Even if not, follow it completely. Start following it step by step. Start with morning, taking water in the morning and at bedtime, and then you can incorporate water intake around the meal times. I'd like for anyone to share their experience practicing any of these habits. How's it going? I would like to hear. Would anyone be willing to share how your practice has been going so far?
Hi, I'd like to share. So, I've been doing the presence pause and the breath regulation pretty much every day. And so I feel in the morning after I wake up, I do both, and then I try to do it at night and whenever I can remember in the day. But the morning practice is really helping me to start off the day with awareness and feel more present throughout the day in general. So that's been really good. Uh,
That's
and
one.
the hydration, yeah, I think the hydration is taking a bit more time for me to get used to. Maybe because I was so out of rhythm with it, but I'm slowly becoming more aware. So in the first, like the awareness week, I wasn't really clocking everything like correctly, but now after also starting the 4 point, like trying to drink
Right.
at those specific times, I can see when other times I feel thirsty or how that water is actually making me feel inside. So yeah, that's been good too.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. I'm glad the presence pause and breath regulation are helping you feel more present throughout the day. As I said, with consistent practice, you can see its impact not just for to feel good in the moment, but also have it carry throughout the day. So that's amazing. And even the 4 point hydration rhythm, as I said, start small. I know it's difficult to just incorporate everything at once. So I think you're doing a great job. At the first step is to become aware of what your current pattern is, and start changing slowly as you become aware, and how to progress with the change, so it'll naturally happen over time. So great going. Thanks for sharing again.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so this week, as I mentioned, we're moving into habit number 3, which is early dinner. And from here, our next 3 habits are actually going to focus on evening routines. Now, ideally, when we think about building healthy daily rhythms, which is what our program is about, we should be starting with morning routines, right? Like waking up early, sunlight, or meditation, all of that. But I'm intentionally not starting from morning routines because mornings usually don't begin in the morning. Mornings begin with the night before, right? If your evenings are dysregulated, if you have late meals, or if you're overstimulated, or if you have irregular sleep, your mornings will feel like a struggle. So instead of forcing discipline in the morning, we start by stabilizing your evenings. And when the evenings become calmer, your sleep naturally improves, your digestion improves, and your energy stabilizes. And then waking up becomes more easier, more natural. So let's talk about evenings from an Ayurvedic perspective. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a concept in Ayurveda called Ayurvedic energy clock. The Ayurvedic energy clock. So, Ayurveda recognizes that energy is not the same throughout the day. Your body, mind, your digestion, your hormones, they all move in cycles, just like nature. Within a day, nature has the cycle of sun and moon, right? The solar and lunar energies. Now, how nature functions and how your body functions in the morning versus afternoon versus evening versus late night is different. The solar and lunar energies impact our body differently. Now, Ayurveda categorizes these energy shifts in a more distinguished format, I would say. Ayurveda divides the day into what we call doshic time zones. So we have 3 main doshas in Ayurveda: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And each of these doshas has different qualities, they have different energetics. And each of these doshas dominate certain hours in the day. I'm not going to go very deep into all of these today, but I'm going to explain what's relevant for our topic today, which is our evening time. And I want you to think of these as not abstract ideas, right? They are clear observations from nature. And as I mentioned, the basic idea of Ayurveda earlier in the program, we we saw that Ayurveda believes that as above, so within. So, whatever is happening around within nature is also happening within us. So, these energetics that govern nature, like the solar and lunar energies, and Ayurvedically speaking, the Vata, Pitta, Kapha energies, they govern nature and they also govern our body. And think about what happens in nature between 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., which is our evening time. The sun sets, the light reduces, temperature gradually drops, birds return to their nests, and most animals reduce their activity and they begin resting. And so does our body. Our body mirrors this. Our activity naturally slows when there's no artificial light. There's a shift from activity to settling in the evening time. And Ayurveda calls this time the Kapha Kala. Kapha is a dosha, and Kala means time. And the Kapha dosha is comprised of the water and earth element. So it has qualities like heaviness, stability, and slowing down. It's the body's settling phase. So during this time, let's see what happens within our body. Metabolism begins to decline during this time, during evening time. Your digestive intensity reduces. And why does this happen? Because according to Ayurveda, your digestion mimics sun. Your digestion is called Agni in Ayurveda. It's related to the fire element, and it mimics the movement of the sun. It starts to rise in the morning as the sun rises. It's at the peak when the sun is shining the brightest in the around noon time. So your Agni, your digestion, is at its peak during lunchtime. And as the sun starts to set, your digestion also comes down. So your digestive fire is not very strong during evening time. And then your body's temperature starts lowering, right? And your melatonin secretion, which is your sleep related hormone, it begins to start secreting during evening hours. And your nervous system shifts towards rest and repair mode. So just like animals return to shelter, just like light reduces around in nature, our physiology naturally prepares for rest. And this is why an Ayurvedic evening looks like this. It looks like gentle movement instead of intense activity, because evening is focused on winding down and eating lighter meals, because our digestive capacity is naturally declining during this time, and heavy food becomes hard to process, and any food that is not processed well and cannot be eliminated well gets accumulated as toxins in your body. So eating lighter meals and finishing dinner early, because body is transitioning into rest mode and you need to give it enough time to digest your food before the rest and repair mode begins. So finishing your dinner early and reduce stimulation, because body moves from intake to assimilation. And let's look at this concept. I want to drill this concept down much more deeper with you. Why we need to reduce our stimulation in the evening. So, our body has two primary functional modes. Your body is not designed to do everything at once. So, across a 24-hour cycle, it broadly alternates between an intake mode and then a repair and assimilation mode. And these modes overlap slightly, but one of them dominates at a time. In intake mode, what intake mode really means is it's not just intake of food, it includes intake of any information, any sensory input, conversations or emotional experiences, screens, stimulation, even activity like decisions, problem solving. So this is the active and receiving phase of life. And in this phase, body prioritizes digestion. We have active metabolism because we need to intake the inputs and metabolize them, and our nervous system is alert, and we have sharper cognitive processing, we engage socially, we deliver physical output. So this is where our energy moves outward. You're gathering, you're doing. And this is the mode that is generally active during the daytime. In the evening and nights, our body naturally moves into repair and assimilation mode. Assimilation, again, is not just digesting food, it also means digesting your emotions or integrating experiences, processing memories. Hormonal recalibration happens at this time, cellular repair, and immune balancing. So, this is the integration and release phase. In this mode, our body focuses on resting, it focuses on repair. So, you have reduced digestion, slower metabolic rate, your sleep hormones rise, and your temperature decreases, your nervous system is calming, and the energy turns inward during this time. And why this matters? Why this matters for early dinner? Let's look at that. So, digestion is an energy intensive process, right? If a heavy meal enters during your repair mode, which is active during late evening and nights, your body directs its energy back to digestion instead of focusing on repair. So, you're interrupting your body's repair mechanism. So, this digestion competes with restoration, and your sleep quality reduces. You do not get a good healthy sleep, and you won't wake up fresh. Your morning feels more heavy, right? And this is why eating early is important. This is why eating early is important. You need to be able to digest your food by bedtime so that your body can focus on repair and restoration. And how early is early? Let's talk about an ideal timing as per Ayurveda. Ideally, Ayurveda, as you saw, categorizes evenings from 6 to 10 p.m. as kapha time. As I said, kapha has qualities of heaviness, sluggishness. So as you move later into the kapha time, your body is going to get more heavy and sluggish, and the digestion keeps going down. So early kapha time, early kapha kala, which is ideally between 6 to 7 p.m., would be a good time to have your dinner. And another thing to keep in mind is you should be able to digest your food, at least the first part of digestion, which typically takes about anywhere between 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes more if you have heavy dinner. Your body needs to finish that digestion before your bedtime. So these two things are things that you should keep in mind when it comes to early dinner. Eating at the beginning of Kapha Kala, which is 6 to 7 p.m. And sometimes when our sunsets are quicker in winter season, for example, we can even eat before 6 p.m. Like 5 to 6 p.m. is also something you could do. But what if you say, I'm going to eat my dinner at 9 p.m. and sleep at 12 p.m.? I would still be digesting my food before bedtime. Does that work? That wouldn't, because as I mentioned, you would have a tougher time digesting your food in late kapha kala because your digestion would already have gone down by late evening, which is around 8 or 9 p.m., right? And there's another danger to doing this. This would interrupt your sleep. Even though you're sleeping, say you sleep from 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., which is 8 hours of sleep, it's not the same as sleeping from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And let me explain why. If you look at the screen, you can see the Ayurvedic energy clock again. You can see that from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Pitta predominant time of the night. Our Pitta Kala starts from 10 p.m. And this, according to Ayurveda, means pitta promotes repair and restoration in the body. This is where this is when your liver function is most active, which means all the elimination and all the repair and integration that's done during your night hours is happening during this 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So you must be asleep around this time. So from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is when your deepest repair happens during the night. And if you're missing out on sleep during this time, you're missing out on the most ideal repair that your body can do. So in order to not interrupt that, it's ideal to sleep by 10 p.m. and have an early dinner so that you can digest your food by bedtime before 10 p.m. So that is the ideal recommendation. I know this is not possible for everyone, but if you are able to do it, that's great. And next week we will be discussing how we can incorporate this, if not perfectly, what are some ways you can incorporate this schedule with your that works for your current needs and your current schedule. And this week, we are not forcing any change, so don't worry about changing anything. This is simply awareness week. We will just be observing. We'll be observing 5 things about early dinner. 5 things about early dinner. Firstly, what time do you usually eat dinner? You'll observe what time are you eating dinner, and after dinner, your energy level, your mental clarity, your bloating, or how light you feel, you're going to be observing all of that. And third thing, are you hungry post dinner? You know, are you feeling hungry? And if you are, is it thirst? Last week we saw how thirst and hunger signals get mixed up. So, are you really hungry or are you thirsty? Are you drinking water 1 hour post your dinner? And are you feeling, if you're feeling hungry, are you feeling hungry out of stress or boredom or just out of habit? That's something you will observe. And the fourth thing you'll observe is what time do you go to sleep and how long is the gap between your dinner and sleep time currently. And I know this can vary from day to day, but I want you to observe for the entire week. Okay, and how it's varying. And also observe how you feel the next morning when you wake up. Are you waking up hungry? That's one thing you can observe. Now, waking up hungry can happen if you eat dinner too early or if you do not have, say, enough protein or enough substantial food for dinner. But waking up hungry can also happen if you eat dinner late just before bedtime. That sounds surprising, right? Waking up hungry can also happen if you eat late or a heavy carb intense dinner. Why does this happen? Because your digestion overlaps with your repair window. And what happens is naturally during night, your insulin sensitivity is low and your metabolism is slow, right? That means the glucose handling can be less stable and sometimes insulin response overshoots, meaning that blood sugar drops below than ideal value a few hours later after your meal. So your blood sugar spikes after your meal and then it dips more than usual during the night. Due to this, sometimes you can also partially wake up. You may feel hungry and your stress hormones are activated due to this. So you're not going to have good quality sleep and you're also going to be hungry the first thing in the morning. So this can happen again either if you eat very early dinner or eat just before sleeping or eat a heavy dinner that doesn't get digested during bedtime. So in either case, you're going to observe if you're feeling hungry in the morning, how early do you feel hungry? So these are these are 5 things this week that you would be observing. And next week, as I said, we will look at how you can eat your dinner early and some tips and tricks that help you digest your food earlier before bedtime. All right, so that's it for today. Any questions?
మౌనిక
Yes, Auntie.
తెలుగులో మాట్లాడచ్చా?
Yes, sure, Auntie.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు నైట్ మనం అర్లీగా డిన్నర్ చేయాలంటున్నాం కదా,
Mhm.
దాంట్లో మనం తీసుకోవాల్సింది ప్రోటీన్ ఇంటేక్ ఆర్ ఫైబర్ ఇంటేక్ రెండు బ్యాలెన్స్ చేసుకుంటూ తీసుకోవాలనా, ఒక ప్రోటీనే తీసుకోవాలనా? ఫైబర్ ఇంటేక్ తీసుకుంటే మనకు మళ్ళా అంటే మోషన్ అది కొంచెం ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుందేమో కదా.
Yeah, it depends, Auntie. So next week, I'll cover it in more detail about how you can split macros in your meal. So protein versus fiber. Ideally, in short, to answer your question, in the night, we do not need over protein because man digestion is not strong enough in the night. But you need to eat little bit of protein to sustain. And fiber is also important because me blood sugar spike will be balanced if you have fiber in your meal. So you
ఓకే.
need to have little bit of fiber, little bit of protein, but it again depends on your digestive fire. If your digestive fire, if your Agni cannot handle the fiber and protein, if you consume excess fiber and protein, again you're going to see problems with it. So how much your digestive fire can handle, Anedi, you have to assess. And based on that, include all fiber, protein, and even carbs to a small extent, based on how you are able to digest it. So, మీరు observe చేసుకోవాలి. You observe how your digestion is, how you're feeling after your food, with different ratios of fiber, protein, carbs, and all of these. And based on that, have your dinner.
అంటే అంటే వేరే వాళ్ళకి అవకాశం ఇవ్వాలి కానీ ఇంకొకటి మాట్లాడి పెట్టేస్తా.
Yeah, sure.
ఫైబర్ ఇంటేక్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ఈ షుగర్ స్పైక్స్ ఏవైతే ఉంటాయో అవి రైజ్ అవ్వకుండా కంట్రోల్లో ఉంటాయి అని విన్నాను. ఇస్ ఇట్ కరెక్ట్?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah,
ఓకే.
that is
అంటే
why
దీనిని ఏ టైంలో తీసుకుంటే బెటర్ అంటావు?
dinner, as I said, early kafakala, which is around 6 to 7 p.m. if you're typically sleeping by 9 to 10 p.m. If you're sleeping earlier, you could even do early dinner. Again, no need to change anything for this week. Next week, I'll go into detail about all of these. Next week, మొత్తం detail లో చెప్తాను. A time
Okay.
would be ideal for you. For this week,
Okay.
observe how when you're having dinner now, this 1 week, and when you're sleeping, and how you're feeling. Like, are you feeling lighter by bedtime, or are you still feeling heavy? Are you having water after your dinner? And how you're feeling in the morning. Yeah, if you
Okay.
can make dinner, say, half an hour earlier than you are currently having, if you make a small shift, observe how that shift is impacting you in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie. All right. Thank you all so much for attending today, and thank you for the sharing your experiences and the questions. See you all next week.